So the next part of the fruit of the Spirit that we want to examine is peace. Now, peace can be taken a couple of different ways. It can be not being hostile towards others, or it can be referring to not having a mind that is all stirred up. Now, over in Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 and 23, where we're working, it states that the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, objectivity of mind, self-control. And of course, against such there is no law. That is, we as Christians are not going to violate any aspect of any law if we're producing the fruit of the Spirit. This, of course, is why we do not live a life by law, we live a life by grace. We first looked at love, which is seeking the best for the one loved. Then we looked at joy, which is being content in any situation. That is, regardless of your circumstances, you can have joy. You see a good example of this with Paul. Even after having been beaten and chased out of the city, being in prison, he still expresses joy for the saints in Philippi. And our focus can be the same. The reality is we have promises. Well, along with that joy should come peace, because we are already settled up with God. Over in Romans chapter 5 and verse 1, it's very clear that we have peace with God because of what Christ did. So through Christ, we actually are no longer hostile to God. We're no longer constituted as enemies of God. We're actually ones who are righteous before Him because we're in Christ. So it's not talking about hostility towards God. What it's talking about is not having a mind that's all stirred up or ruffled up. Jesus talks about this in the upper room with the disciples, where he says, "My peace I leave with you." They were in a pretty traumatic time. Information was being given to them that they didn't really understand. They were being told that Christ was going to be, that is the Messiah, was going to be crucified, but yet he was going to be raised on the third day. They didn't understand that, and their minds were very troubled. So troubled that all of them were actually exhausted from it by the end of the day. Yet Christ said, "I'm going to leave my peace with you." So you see, we as Christians can have peace. We can have a mind that's not being ruffled up by the things around us. It looks like the world's falling apart, but the reality is we know who's in control. God has very clearly stated what He is going to do. And the reality is, no matter what happens, nothing can separate us from the love of God. And that should be something that we focus on, because it should then impact everything we do. Because we're not going to be ruffled by the things that the world system is doing, by the things that the politicians are doing or the unrighteous are doing. We know their time will come. What we're going to be focused on is, in any situation, looking at it, weighing it, and glorifying God in it. That is, expressing a proper opinion of not only who God is, but who we are in Christ, by taking, again, full advantage of this incredible salvation He's given to us. We are ones who are saints. We are ones who are washed and regenerated. We are ones who have access to a quality of the divine nature, giving us everything we need to live a godly life. And one aspect of that is having a mind that's not stirred up by things around us, but keeping our mind focused on the reality, on the truth of things, so that we can be stable even when others around us are not.